Avia-Tek, aerospace consulting for emerging markets.
What are the key drivers of demand in China's civil helicopter market?
Demand for civil helicopter services in China today and in the past 5 to 10 years has primarily been derived from the offshore services segment, and that's to support the oil and gas industry. A lot of development is occurring in the South China Sea for oil and gas, and that will continue to be one of the major drivers of growth today and in the future. In the coming 5 to 10 years, we can also expect to see increased requirements of helicopters from all of these new GA services companies that have set up and are usually privately invested, and that's to provide services such as utility, construction, search and rescue, medical evac, and medevac will become an increasingly important driver of growth in the Chinese civil helicopter industry because China will be investing billions of dollars to build out a national rescue system.
And how is the general aviation regulatory environment affecting that demand?
The regulatory environment in China has been one of the major constraints for growth on the industry. It is still today far from as open of a system as you would see in a market like the US. However, it's very clear, and especially in the recent months, that the trend for deregulation and liberalization of the policies surrounding general aviation is very positive, and that trend is also accelerating. You can see more details on some of these regulatory policies that have been issued in the report which we're issuing.
And what do you think are the prospects for locally developed helicopters to gain a market share in China?
Well, when you talk about market share, today most of the helicopters in China for civil use are in fact imported Eurocopters, Sikorsky, Bell, Augusta, and so on. That will continue to be the case. If you look at locally produced helicopters, there's really just going to be two kinds. One is those helicopters that are produced by Avic, and they're either, some of them are indigenously developed, but mostly they're derived from a Eurocopter or French or Russian design, and with some updates. Those type of helicopters will definitely serve certain kind of segments. They could do well in the police and law enforcement side of civil helicopter or semi-civil helicopter use. However, the second type of Chinese helicopter manufacturer would be those locally, so affiliated with local governments or private companies that have acquired the brand and intellectual property and assets of some helicopter manufacturers abroad. One of the examples would have been the Enstrom helicopter. So while they haven't made a significant impact on market share today, those type of companies would be better positioned to do so if, in fact, for those local companies, they can overcome and create the brand recognition that says their products have performance, safety, product support, price competitiveness on par with the international manufacturers. And I would say that if you look at the market overall, it was about 50 aircraft that were added into China in the last year. While the existing fleet in the U.S. may be in the tens of thousands, one of the major manufacturers may only produce about 150, 250 helicopters per year. So if you're able to sell 15 to 20 helicopters in a market like China, it can become maybe not the most important market for you, but certainly a significant strategic market and a growth market. The regulator will not allow growth to just explode overnight, even if the regulations continue on their trend to greatly improve the regulatory environment. It will probably be allowed by the CAC to moderately increase the pace of growth, but don't expect a revolutionary, we're going to go from 50 to 500 next year. It's just not going to happen. So anyways, the details on our opinion and insights on some of the data is all available in the report which we're issuing, and you can find by clicking on the link at the end of this video.